for granted, especially for those of us that we already had an appointment for this meeting. Okay, so tonight, I just want to wait for, I can't wait any longer though. This is already, we are 4 minutes into the meeting. So, the conversation we want to have tonight, I title it as Embracing Hardness to Avoid Hardship. I wouldn't want to be doing definition of terms in terms of what is hardship, what is hardness, how are they different from each other. But for the sake of setting a background for what I want to talk to you about, it is important to give you perspective to it. So when I put a difference between hardness and hardship, the context from wherein I'm speaking is what I'm about to tell you now. So hardness in itself is like you accepting the rigor or toughness of something. So a lot of times, hardness, we use it to describe something that is tough, something that is rigid. So you talk about solidity, you talk about rigidity, you talk about toughness. Those are the things that are likened to hardness. Please pay attention. Hardness, that is hardness. Why we now talk about hardship? Hardship in a nutshell is suffering. And I can tell you guys for free, anyone who does not know how to embrace hardness we automatically choose hardship. Again, I'm saying anyone that does not know how to embrace hardness is already embracing hardship, except that that is not going to happen on the immediate. For instance, a funny story that I heard, I don't know where it happened, but someone shared it about a one university like that. They were doing convocation. Convocation in Nigeria is graduation, basically, in tertiary institutions. When they were doing the graduation, the a specific father was said to have followed his child to that ceremony, so to speak. And by the time the event was ongoing, you understand, for those of you who have attended one at one point or the other, they started calling best graduating students in different departments, in different colleges, in different faculties, in different, programs. And by the time they gave all the awards in that ceremony, none of those awards or recognition came to the child. And the father, being embarrassed, called the son and said, can you imagine? All you knew to do was to be collecting money while you were on this campus as an undergrad. He said, but your equals were there collecting, receiving prizes while you were just there receiving nothing. The guy was in pain. All of you can relate with that kind of funny stuff, right? But it's so good to see you. Temitope Kings, Esther Boluwaji, everybody, you are duly recognized. All right. I want to move on now from meet and greet, but every other person joining, duly you are recognized. Let's keep the chat box engaging. So I was talking about the son and his father that attended the convocation. At the end of the day, the guy was embarrassed by his dad, rebuked that, see, your life, you didn't get anything, but this is your mate. These are your mates receiving different prizes and awards. On their way out, based on their story, I learned that different parents were moving out with their respective vehicles in grades. Let's bring it to our contemporary society. Maybe some people were driving Tesla, some were driving Mercedes, some were driving different kind of, luxury vehicle. But his own dad, the father of that son, had no vehicle at all. So they needed to wait to catch up with Taxify. And the son caught the attention of the dad that you spoke to me that the guys receiving prizes were my mates. He said, the people also driving out, are they not your mate, dad? Are you getting the context of the analogy now? So it will call to the father. Now, what that child did is not a commendable something. I'm not trying to commend him. But that sets a clear record to all of us that the successful parents had the same 24 hours per day, the same way the father of the child had 24 hours in every single day. So, whatever actually led to the child not excelling among his peers is almost similar to the reason why the father also couldn't excel in a commensurate proportion with his equals. Please pay attention to what we are discussing tonight. So either you like it or yes, there is nothing you can do to increase the number of hours you have in your own day. It's practically impossible. I've spent the recent weeks, so for those of you who have been on the platform, teaching about the limitation of your location, limitation of your background, family, all of that. I've moved on from that because, like I told you, the moment you clock certain age in life, the universe expects you to have resolved all those inadequacies and catch up with your peers. So you don't give excuses at certain levels again. In fact, your excuse become the designer of your frustration, and nobody's going to take you seriously. So you can't increase your 24 hours. You can't do anything about where you were born. You can't do anything about the kind of background that produced you, but you have to do everything to ensure that what ought to be automatic by those environments is not going to be your choice. You are not going to choose that. So, and to take us further, if you are now going to maximize your time, it means there is a necessary hardness that you need to really embrace, especially when you don't have the same advantage that your age mates all around that they have. What I'm saying to you is if you miss this hardness that we are talking about, no matter how much of effort you give into to praying, you are not going to catch up. So what we are talking about is giving you, you know, head start so that you will know what is your own duty and responsibility that God will not do for you and that nobody is going to do for you. That God Himself will not do for you and nobody is going to do for you. So embracing hardness to avoid hardship. I've seen 50-year-old people begging their classmates. They won't call it begging, they call it soliciting. We put all kinds of grammar to just justify a lot of funny stuff. I mean, this man literally went to visit his own classmate that he should assist him to pay the school fee of this son he gave birth to by himself. So it didn't take too long that the son of that man started calling his dad's friend daddy, but in a different context. And it didn't take too long that his son began to accord more respect and regard to the friend of his father more than the one that gave birth to him biologically. Why we can't justify that stupidity of that son, but the father caused it. And whatever had led to that is because the father did not embrace the necessary hardness. So he had to stick to the consequential hardship that followed the steps he had taken. Let me give you a scriptural background, all right, to what we are discussing tonight. In Proverbs 25 and verse 28, the Bible says, whoever has no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down without walls. Whoever has no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down without walls. What does it mean for a city to be broken down without walls? There are two things that happen to such kind of cities. The implication of that is evil things enter into those cities freely without anybody restricting them. Then good things also exit those territory without anybody stopping them. So anybody who does not master how to have a control over his own self first, good things, good opportunities, graces, open doors will be walking out of the life of that person without any restraint. Good things. Then terrible things will happen to that kind of person without a restraint also. I hope you know anyone who sticks to prosperity and prospers has already escaped poverty. And anyone who avoids prosperity is already programmed for poverty. So there are things in this life, how do we describe it? They are not uh they are diametrically opposites to one another. Are you getting what I'm saying? So good things live their lives, bad things have free entry. And let me say something to you. One of the funny things about this world is that greatness does not happen to anybody without effort. But you don't need special intelligence to end up poor, defeated in life, and even to become small. All you just need to do is to be unresponsive to things that you are learning. It will happen to you on autopilot. And to even stay in that reality requires effort. It takes effort for somebody to perpetually embrace, poverty in actual sense. But please pay attention to what we are saying. So having rule, therefore, over yourself becomes a necessity, not something that you have choice around. It becomes what? A necessity. It becomes what? A necessity. And what do I mean by saying something is a necessity? While we were in school, I cited examples around campuses a lot. I noticed certain guys like that. We were studying chemistry. By the time the lecturer finished teaching certain concepts, those guys, you understand that this guy really did not get this thing. But the guy will not even bother. He will go to night class, read all night, study different textbooks. It was taking him longer time. But a lot of times, he didn't understand that thing very well at the start. Certain people who seem to have a fair grasp of the concept, but decided not to work with, not to do extra study after the classes, they ended up scoring lower than the guy who did not get the understanding. I'm telling you true life story. And the reason is simple. If two people have equal potential, we don't know how to measure that. There is no potentiometer in terms of human capacity. You can only do that in physics. But if two people have equal capacities, so to speak, and one of them decide to work better than the other person, people of God, the one who is working better will be far ahead of the other person. And by work, I'm not talking about exerting energy in terms of laboring, but I'm talking about being strategic in deploying your energy. A lot of people call it smart work, but whatever. But that's not my focus. I'm just saying to you that you need to know that there is a necessity that is on you as an individual to play a part in the outcome of your future. And the moment you fail to play that part, you have accepted to fail, no matter who is praying for you. No, no, it doesn't even matter the advantages that surround your life. It doesn't even matter at all. Embracing necessary hardness. How do we embrace this hardness? The hardness I'm talking about is not even for you to be suffering all around. I'm talking about for you to be tough. The first thing you have to be tough on is management of your time. management of your time. You see, anything that can be spent can be wasted, and anything that can be spent can be maximized. Anything that can be spent, it means it can be wasted and it can be invested. What are the things we spend? Put it in the comment box. What are the things we spend? We spend time. We spend money. We even spend our life. We exert our energy. We spend attention. So whatever that can be, anything that they advise you, somebody said time management, yeah. We spend effort, good of you. I love the energy. Keep it coming. All of you are right with what you are saying. But you see that we spend time, right? Thank you very much, Temitope. We spend resources. Just know that whatsoever can be spent can be wasted and can be invested. That is why there is no continent on earth that is blessed, that is more blessed with natural resources than Africa. And I don't want to go into that because I get more serious when conversation gets to those comparative analysis. But you have realized that natural advantage stands for nothing if there is no proper management. If there is no proper management. So the first thing that you need to be tough on is the management of your time. How do you manage your time? You manage your time by having established routine. Write that down. Because without routine, there cannot be mastery. Without routine, there cannot be mastery. Without routine, there cannot be mastery. Anything you want to excel on or anything you want to be successful at, you must be ready to do that thing for long. You must be ready to do that thing for long. Longevity this time is not a matter of doing it at a stretch once. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, doing it again and again and again. Somebody wrote a book. I don't know if some of you have read that book. And actually, I'm not even trying to recommend it. But in any case, the man said, there is no how you can be proficient in something until you have spent, isn't 10,000 hours? If any of you can remember that, you can put it in the comment box, that you must have done that thing for 10,000 hours. Either 1,000 hours or 10,000 hours. I can't remember, basically. And he put a lot of analogy around that. But the truth of the matter is, anything you give yourself to begins to give itself back to you. That's why if you consistently pray and you pray well, you pray long, and you pray daily, it will get to a moment you will start having spiritual visitations. It doesn't matter if you have not been called or you were called. That is consistent with the nature of spiritual engagement. Is a rule. Is a rule. So I'm saying to you that everything you stand the chance to accomplish in your field of engagement, in your field of endeavor, until you take it to certain level in terms of your own investment of time and commitment, there are aspects of those things that will never open up for you. They won't open up for you. It's like something that is graduated. You know what I mean by something being graduated? That is ingredient. Such that if this guy gets to level 4, let's say we have 20 steps. At level 4, we are going to give him this. At level 10, we are going to give him this. No matter how much you love to gain what is apportioned for step 10, until you get to that step, you won't see it. At that level, mindset notwithstanding, being positive, notwithstanding, confessing the word of righteousness, notwithstanding. What those things, I'm not canceling them out, I've taught you before, but all of them must align together to propel you to give the corresponding action. So without routine, there cannot be mastery. Without routine, there cannot be mastery. And how do you see anything you want to master how to do repeatedly? There is always a logic around them. Things are easily planned for those who are disciplined. By the way, the emphasis is discipline. But you have to be strategic in even setting the structure to have what you want to be disciplined on or over. For instance, I told some of my people years back, I said, if you want to read a book, the moment you get that book, day one, you can decide the number of days it will take me to finish this book. It's very simple. If a book has 22 chapters, it means plus or minus 2 days, you should be able to finish that book in 11 days. And if you decide to finish it in 11 days, it means every day you have to read 2 chapters, full stop. So if there are already 2, 3 days you have not read a single chapter, you know you started failing. So failure is not only awaiting you, you know you are a mobile failure. You are failing in progress. Because these things, you know what to do to get what you are expecting to get. Then if you feel you want to read the book in 22 days, then you must read a chapter per day and you must be disciplined to that. By the time you break that thing down to that level, it means every day you want to read a chapter of a book. That's how to finish books. It doesn't matter how big those books are. It doesn't matter. For instance, you want to learn how to develop a proper devotional life. You can't just say, I will be reading my Bible every day. You won't read it. You have to attach a specific time to it. I read my Bible 6 a.m. every morning. If that is your decision, then you set alarm. The moment that alarm is sounding, giving you signal to do something. Not just that a lot of people wake up to now figure out what should I even do this morning. That you just know that these are people going nowhere. Is somebody getting what I'm saying? So you be disciplined with routine. In reading, you put targets, not something too stressful. A lot of people say, I want to read this book in one sitting. Who do you want to brag for? Or who do you want to brag to? Just, you see, they said step by step, right? There was this thing somebody said. He said, I think he said, inch by inch, life is cinch. It's simple. Let me bring it to something easy for you so that you will be able to relate with it better. If you want to be if they want to train you to be a medical professional, by the time you gain admission to the medical school, you realize that they will do introductory courses. Your program is slated for 6 years, that's in Nigeria, maybe 4 years, max or 5 in United States. They will now divide that 5 years into semesters. They will divide the semesters into weeks. They will divide the weeks into days. And they will divide the days into period, what you call lecture period. So they will tell you this course is 3 credit hour. Then you are doing it 3 hours in a week. You are being taught. That's not supposed to mean that you should only give 3 hours to that kind of course. But what I'm saying is, you realize that 3 hours every week, 2 hours here, 1 hour there, by the time you accumulate everything together, you have not become a medical doctor yet. You have become a medical doctor in training. So, in the school of greatness, in the school of excelling, in the school of success, The moment you master how to break these things down and been engaging them consistently on a routine basis, you've been enrolled as somebody who is being trained to become that. And if you commit yourself to it, you will surely become. Now, just simulate this in your mind, simulate it, and imagine that they decided to now do everything a student ought to be taught for 6 years to become a medical doctor. Someone now says, I'm going to crash it for you in 6 months. You will die. You won't even die. You will not survive it. You will eventually back down. That's the reason why some of you turn back from the plans you have every year. Yeah, that is the thing. So you turn back. People enroll for courses online, they don't finish them. So you have to be disciplined with what? With time management. And how do you manage time? Routine, 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 routine. Number two, you have to be disciplined enough to say no without apology to people. Now, it's getting serious. The next things I'm going to be discussing with you, they are not conventional things that you need to pay attention to them. Some of you, you are being too nice for your destiny to survive. You are being too nice for your destiny to have a room to find expression. And what you are calling nicety, what you are calling being free with people, it is in the future you will realize how much of foolishness you are bringing to the table. No, in what sense? In every area where something is not consistent with your routine, except on exceptional occasions that I'm going to mention. If you don't have a life of routine, anybody can encroach into your arrangement anyhow, and they will succeed. And they are not doing anything wrongly because you don't have a plan and they are aware. People reach out to you for what they have planned for 1 month. Then 24 hours to that, they are calling you to follow them to that place. And they know that what are you doing with your life? One of my friends, Sam, I can quote his name. He is a very good guy that I respect, elderly to me. He told me one day, he said, except for those that I'm directly accountable to, said, you can't just call me for what is not an emergency to you and expect me to make that thing an emergency. So something that is not an emergency to you, you now expect me to make it an emergency. It means you are saying I don't have what I'm doing with my life. Can you guys grow up enough to be able to say no to somebody without feeling now like this video? That's if it's blessing you. If it's not blessing you, don't like it. But if what we are discussing is making sense to you, like it. If you like it, more people will see it. Yeah. Are you getting what I'm saying? Without being apologetic about it. That's the reason why many people never have a strong financial management. You're just spending money like a blind man. I've been there for long. Now, I'm not saying don't be a giver. So if that's what you are hearing wrongly. So learn how to be able. Hey, Baba, how far now? I'm fine. Oh. Can we go to the cinema in the evening? Oh, sorry. That's not really part of my plan for today. Thank you. So maybe some other time we can talk about it. But I would like you to let me know ahead of time because I have my stuffs figured out before the moment. Next time, the person will think again before calling you. You are the one empowering people to take you for granted. And I'd like you to know every time you sit down and it's appearing to you that you have a free time, you really don't have a free time. You have a memory block, or let me call it, you are just ignorant of what that time ought to be spent on. All of us, we have leisure period. Don't get it mixed up. There are moments where we relax, but in the relaxation, you are achieving something. If you meet me in the gym, I'm doing something there. If I even go to the cinema, I know the movie I want to go and watch. I can't leave my house and say I'm just going to the cinema. Maybe they will, whatever they are showing, or I now get there and I'm making the choice on the spot. No, I must have made that choice in my house, and I will have made it days ahead of the time. Master that thing, because especially for those who grew up from places where they've been objectified, they don't really see it as something bad. Meanwhile, the magnitude of its consequence on their destiny is more than what they are thinking. I said I'm going to tell you the exception to all these things. There are exceptions to it. There are people that may just reach out to you without any prior notice, and you don't need to get angry. You don't need to get offended. You don't need to turn that down, because if you turn that down, you are being foolish, not being smart. For instance, those from whom things are flowing to you, those that you know that meeting this person is something you have been longing for. So if they call you without prior notice, it's still a progress for you. And they don't need to call you for a meeting or to give you something you have been looking for. They can even call you to send you on errand. That connection, you know what it's doing. You don't apply all these rules in absolute term. You know who you are dealing with. It's normal. Is that normal? Is that normal? So empower your no. Empower yourself to be able to say no without being apologetic. In case you don't know, a video circulated recently. I don't know when that video was made. I don't know when the man of God preached that sermon, where Apostle Selman said somebody reached out to him to come and be part of his, maybe a best man or something. And he said he told the person, no, 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 no. I don't have time for those kind of stuff. We can say a lot about that. I've done a lot of best man for people. I'm not as busy as Apostle Selman, And my own father in the Lord, I learned that from him. He makes out time for his own people. I've seen a lot of people do that. But you see, instead of criticizing that apostle, as some people were criticizing him, that what kind of arrogance is this, all of that, you should check the weight or the gravitas or the premium that man placed on his time. Before you say, why should somebody behave like this? Check who that person is first. And instead of being reactive, learn. In my case, I wouldn't refuse to be a best man for my friend. No. Again, I'm not as busy as him. However, that just shows to you that this man has put himself under a stringent condition that even friendship cannot break into it. No wonder he's doing what he's doing. If everybody calls you nice, if everybody calls you nice, I bet you are endangering your future without knowing. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Routine, time management, empowering your no without being apologetic about it. There are moments where you have to. Precious is asking if we can share the link. Yeah, after the meeting, we are almost 40 minutes into the conversation, so they can watch it from the start after now. That's fine. I will leave it open. I'm not sure I want to close it after now. All right. So these are critical issues that you need to take very seriously. You need to take it very seriously. When you don't have advantages around you and you are now living your life on autopilot, everybody around you, your life is just going to be a little better than theirs, except you take a radical departure from their lifestyle. A radical departure, including in fellowships where you are fellowshipping. Those who have stayed in that fellowship for 10 years, that way you see them, if they are struggling in their walk with God, you stand the chance of to struggle. It's not compulsory. If you embrace everything they are doing just the way it is being done. No. Whenever something is general in an environment, in a climb, in a community, in a family, in a lineage, in an association, it means that thing has already become a lifestyle. It has become a culture. It has become a tradition. If you don't deviate from the people in your approach consciously, with best effort, you will end up like them. So your predecessors in what you are doing, they are the prophetic representation of your future in that place until you know what they don't know and you do what they are not doing. And you won't be able to do these things we are talking about until you are able to embrace hardness. You have to conquer yourself, guys. And this thing boils down to simple things like setting alarm. The alarm that you set by yourself, by your own hand, I should wake up by 5 a.m. The alarm will now sound by 5 a.m. The same you, when you have not died, you want to wake up at 5, you set alarm for 5, 5:10, 5:20, 5:25, 5:30. That's 5 times in terms of time interval. And at the end of the day, you are standing up 2, 3 hours after that. This is what you don't know. You see, initially, when you start using personal effort to cancel your alarm, you will be doing it consciously. If I just need to sleep a little bit, but you reach out to the phone or whatever you are using as alarm to actually silence it. However, when you train your mind to be doing that consistently, do you know what's going to happen to you? You will get to that point where you can sleep with your eyes properly closed and you are shifting the alarm. You will just cancel it. You silence it. You snooze it or whatever the description is. After a while, your brain adjusts to it that when alarm sounds, it's not supposed the response is not supposed to be to stand up, but to cancel it. The implication of what I'm teaching you is this: if you don't master, if you don't master self-discipline, having a control and rule over yourself, your capacity will only be put to use at best or better by people who have mastered that and they are engaging you in the system they have built with that. That's why you see people who shift and snooze their alarm settings. They can't go late to work when a reasonable person is the owner of that business. Number one, you know you'll be fired. But because you don't want to be fired at work, when they give you deadline, you meet it. But when you set deadline for yourself, you don't meet it. That's why that organization is growing, but your life is not growing. And it won't grow until you change. It's going to grow by God's grace, I pray. But my prayer won't work for you until you adjust your lifestyle and habits. So if you are becoming an adult And you have missed the elementary preparation to master this thing I'm saying. Go and join a place where they can force you into behaving properly under discipline and control. That's the reason why you see a lot of guys who graduated from school and they didn't get a job on time. Guess what happens to them? After a while, they become redundant because they don't develop anything, any new skill. They don't develop even initiatives. Rather, their creative ideology, a lot of time, not in all cases, but a lot of times, begin to nosedive, begin to decline. And the reason is because there is no part of their, of their, let me call it, the dopaminergic receptors. They have been the GABA receptors, dopaminergic receptor. They have kept all those things unused except for natural body maintenance. So the neurons are not developed for creativity anymore. They are not developed to take initiatives anymore. They are not developed to make things happen anymore. It is now developed to react to things. And in the world that is socialized like our own days, this thing we are discussing today is now more critical. Because before, why people appear to be lazy, it was glaring to people because they will not be working. They will literally be sleeping or playing around. But now you can appear busy to people when in the real sense you are not doing anything. When in the real sense you are not doing anything. There is difference between being busy and being productive. They are not the same thing. And it is productivity that brings reward, not being busy. You see people who claim to be going to study and they engage the library for 4 hours, but their ears are plugged in and they have used 2.5 hours to stream Instagram reel that has no connection to what they are doing. Can we work while we need to work and play while we need to play? A man said, play today. Sorry, he said, pay today so that you can play tomorrow. Because if you play today, you will pay tomorrow. Unfortunately, what you will be paying tomorrow will be with more pain. You will be paying with pain, and you won't have the result you ought to have heard if you have done the right thing by paying first before playing. Let the major part of your life, the Bible says, for it is good that a man should bear his yoke in the days of his youth. Don't be the child that don't be the parent that the child will be reminded that, dad, where were you? Mom, where were you when your age mates were doing all these things that have brought them to where they are standing today? And you know that your children may not be bold enough to confront you with it. They may be confronting you with that in their heart every day. There are children who see their parents as, see this man. Technically, in their heart, they say, I regret to have come through him, but they won't tell it to his face. But there are children every day that grow up thanking God for the parent that give birth to them. Can you determine in your mind that you are going to be one of those kind of parents? Can you determine in your heart that you are going to be one of those kind of parents? So you can never operate at your, at your highest level or tap into to the deepest part of your potential if you don't know how to stay focused with something and make it work. I shared the story with you that I spoke with someone. They said, you can do this thing, you can do this thing, you can do it well. He said, yes, I really know I can do it, but I'm not ready to do it yet. I said, why? He said, if I start doing this thing, I know myself that I won't be able to sustain it. That will lead me to my next level. Guys, by every means, except by divine inclination or instruction, that is, you just know beyond the physical that I need to discontinue this thing. Stop doing things halfway and abandoning them. Number one, you won't have good reputation for doing that. Number two, it's a matter of time. You won't trust yourself again to go on any adventure. Know what the Bible says? It's a slothful man. He knows how to hunt his game, but he does not know how to roast it. Anything you are starting or you have started or you will start, the moment you don't know how to take those things to the finishing line, you are a slothful man in Bible standard. As I'm speaking, somebody's heart is racing fast now because you have seen what you started and abandoned, and people who started after you, what that thing is yielding for them now. And it's occurring to you that hadn't been at stayed with on this thing, maybe by now we wouldn't have been where we are. Like I said, don't mourn what is gone, but you need to now put yourself on stringent discipline. To yourself, be true. When you know you don't have this kind of discipline, make yourself more accountable by decision. Not that you'll be looking for somebody to hold you accountable. No, you are the one that will put yourself in their circle. Sir, I like to be giving you a report over this thing. Please talk to me when I'm not doing it. Because this thing I'm discussing with you is a core course. You miss it, you are grounded. You are grounded. And as I'm speaking to you now, I can feel it literally to pray for somebody under my voice, under the sound of my voice, that whatsoever that thing that has now become a stronghold in your heart that you can't finish something. I proclaim in the name that is above all name, that foul mindset lose its grip now in the name of Jesus. Whatever is sponsoring that, now you have victory going forward, but walk in that victory by acting contrary to what has been. That's how to exercise the victory you have attained. Is somebody getting what I'm saying? Some of you know what to do. You can't even start because you feel, I know if I start this thing, I'm not going to finish it. How do I know? A lot of people do that. People reach out to me, they want to do admission to America. You send them schools, you send them what exactly to check all around. 6 months after that, you are not going to hear from them. 3 months or so after that. So one day when one of their friends sent a message that I just got an admission. Oh, they now feel I had one that I started processing. Oh, no, you can't make anything happen like that. There must be a burning passion in your heart that this thing I'm doing, I said it's going to work. My hand is blessed to make something happen. It doesn't matter how it's appearing now. It's a matter of time. As I give myself to it, the thing begins to give itself back to me. As the thing is giving itself back to me, the people begin to give themselves attention to that same thing. That is how things are built. I like some of you to go and read. Those things are available on Google. The story of Amazon. Today, everybody talks about Jeff Bezos, but read about how they started. Read about how they started. Read about how they started. You start small, you grow bigger. You start somewhere, you expand along the line. They said the only thing that starts from the top is grave. Every other thing, you start from down, then you go up. You start from down and you go up. Embrace taking something to finish line, and it takes hardness. You are putting yourself under subjection. You are putting yourself under subjection. You are putting yourself under subjection. Go and ask guys, even who are in the academia. I was relating with somebody who told me that he doesn't sleep in the night to get his publications out the way I've been seeing them. He said his wife, ask my wife. My wife know that I don't sleep like that. But everybody, when he posts the updates outside, everybody begins to say, "Well done, Baba. You are making us proud. Keep inspiring us." The man is grinding behind the scene. It is the public victory people see. There will be no public victory that will be seen or heard about you until there is a secret investment going on that we are not seeing. So ask yourself, when I leave public spaces, what are the things I focus on in my secret place? If there is nothing, nothing is in view. In the grand scheme of things, nothing is in view except the benevolence of people who are paying the price of what we are discussing. So, out of the rewards for their own consistency, they can give something to you. Hardness, self-denial, everybody want to sleep now. You don't know. Oh, everybody want to sleep. It's easy to sleep. You don't need energy. You don't need special skill. You don't need discipline to learn how to sleep. Everybody want to stay on social media and be watching skits, all of those comedies and the likes. Everybody like to watch movie, be eating without working. Without working. Finally, I intend to spend just an hour, and I know the time is fast spent where most of you are. Finally. Listen, I'm about to say, okay, there's always a way to say things. Pay attention to me. Never take advice from anyone who asks you to slow down around what they have achieved while they were at your age. Never take second advice from them. I don't know if you get that, but if you get it, you get it. If you don't, forget about it. That is the story of Saul, David, and Goliath. That's the dynamics. You are young. This guy, you are young. You are young. You are young. You are in haste. Stop pursuing this hard. Meanwhile, they have forgotten that you are competing with your age mates who have gone farther than you. It is not a matter of competition. But if you slow down too much, there will be no room for you in the grand scheme of things. You are aware of that. So don't make such people your guardian and counselor. Saul was telling David, you can't fight Goliath because you are a youth. But Goliath has been a man of war from the days of his youth. So, in a nutshell, don't go and fight him. He has paid his due. That is the way it appears logical to people. But in the grand scheme of things, is that so that you can never stand a chance of being somebody a whole nation will be afraid of the way they're afraid of this guy. Somebody get what I'm saying? You can begin to type in your question now. We have just less than 10 minutes to shut down tonight. A lot of people will counsel you into destruction. Or that's too big. Don't let me use that kind of bigger word. Into self-sabotage. Be slowing down. What are you doing that they're already telling you to be slowing down? What are you doing? That they're already giving you counsel to be slowing down. What are you doing? Then the one who is giving you counsel, check that individual to be sure how he lived his own life. Why that kind of person was at your level. I don't know who has told you that you are doing well. They have not said a lie. They have not told a lie. But I'm here tonight to tell you that you are not doing well enough. There can still be more. And pay more attention to that more that can be than the appraisal you are receiving now. If you focus on the appraisal now, you are streamlining the possibilities that your future ought to supply. And the implication of that is that you are already living your best life right away without knowing. Let there be a burning passion in your heart. There are 7 billion people in the world. Why should I be doing a broadcast out of 7 billion and only 10 people are listening to it? It also it doesn't matter. I'm citing it as an example. There was no publicity. This is an in-house meeting. I just brought it out. But I'm citing it as an example for you. So it will be foolishness on my part if 20 people are online, 50 people are online, and they are placing comments there, and I feel good. These guys are around. I've taught you before now. Don't undermine what you have, but don't overrate what you have gotten. Because what you have gotten, if we put it side by side with what ought to be, you may be close to tears. Be close to tears. Discipline. Discipline. This is what I want to do. Ask yourself, how is it that a lot of times when you know what to do, you are unable to do it? That attitude already is a canker that's already eating up your vitality and virality without you knowing. Because that's how to pack up regrets. So people get to the future with a lot of regrets. The energy of regret is a counterproductive energy. Those are the moments where what you have invested ought to be yielding in return, and you'll be happy. You'll not be speaking with people or speaking to people from the place of authority. Don't choose to counsel people out of your failures. Counsel people by telling them what you are teaching them, you've proven it. Being aged. That's the focus you should have. There are two kinds of aged people. And tonight, that's where I want to conclude. Hmm? Questions? Once again, thank you for joining tonight. Probably next week we can have in-house meeting, depending on how it goes. And if I want to bring it to the public too, it will be fine. So you can share with people. It will be left on the platform for anybody to join and listen. God bless you greatly. If you have a question, just signify first that I have a question. And in the absence of no question, we may begin to wind down.